mentioned. So now also, since he is there, very experienced veteran in this field, you can take the full benefit by raising certain issues which may be of professional importance to you. Okay, without mentioning the names, you can raise. So this is the problem. Anything on survey, search and seizure, everyone to underplay only, sir. Actually, nobody.
It's okay. I'll just highlight some of the issues on the gold seizure and thing. You should be all aware by now that even if your entire goal is unaccounted, whatever gold you have in your assessee's case, if it's entirely, not even a single gram is accounted, then there is a certain allowance. Board circular allows for 500 grams of gold per married woman not to be seized, 250 grams of gold per unmarried woman in the household, unmarried woman or a minor girl child, and 100 grams per male individual in the house. So if you have a certain number of grams there, due to certain traditional and sentimental and religious reasons, women are expected to wear certain ornaments. So the department is not supposed to seize them. For example, in the north, a married woman, what we would call a sumangali, is not expected to remove her bangles. So if she wears a bangle, only at the widow head she is supposed to remove the bangle. So an officer asking her to remove it and weighing it was considered improper. And therefore, some of these reasons. Similarly, it could be that in the south, if you ask a woman to remove her Mangal Sutra, they would consider it as an offensive thing to do. Keeping these sentiments in mind, and the fact that every religious denomination expects the women folk to have certain jewelry, the board has authorized that even if unaccounted, you will have to pay tax on that at a later point of time, but there will be no seizure of this personal jewelry to the extent of 500 grams in the case of married women. Any girl or unmarried, girl child or unmarried woman, 250 grams and 100 grams per individual male member. Also, if a seizure has taken place, the first opportunity for you to have it released is within 15 days. You can approach the investigation directorate and give an application. Either by tendering a cash equivalent or a bank guarantee, you can have the jewelry returned. Sorry? Same thing holds. See, board circular says that you can substitute a more liquid asset for a less liquid asset. So in the case of, supposing you have immovable property, you want the document back. It is unaccounted and you want the document back. Then you approach the department and say, this property is worth 10 lakhs. Therefore, I offer you jewelry of 10 lakhs. You can keep it. I'm going to sell this. Therefore, please return the document. And this circular permits the officer to return that. If within 15 days, it will be the direct investigation who has to take the decision. If it's after 15 days and before centralization, the commissioner concerned, after centralization, the CIT central will have to take the decision. Now, supposing you have jewelry and you need it for certain sentimental purpose, maybe your daughter is getting married or there is a family function, then you offer them either cash or a bank draft and say, look, please take this and give me that jewelry back. And if that is not possible, a bank guarantee can also be considered. So these are the circumstances under which your jewelry, even before an assessment is completed, can be released. And the third point of release would be when the assessments are completed, all taxes are paid, and then you have a claim for release of the jewelry or any other valuable that you have.
One more point.
Yeah.
See, sometimes there is a allegation that department people compelling, they have to admit a figure. Although there is a specific circular was there should not be any compulsion as such. Only based on the record seized, the relevant thing they do it. But normally they put a PO only, prohibitory order, because it's sometimes more documents will be there. But you have to admit that also after 12 o'clock only. Normally when the early morning only, this is being done under 132 as such. Same thing 133A survey. What they do as a current advance tax, you please admit it in the stock. Without going very detailed into it, kindly admit it and pay as a part of, that is from the assessment officer side. And 132 says this is the issue where compulsorily you have to do that. Sometime while we filing a return, whatever the admission will be on the high side. But since it has been recorded, normally they will not be very confident enough to withdraw whatever it is being recorded. But anybody goes to advocates, they first thing they do it, even supporting evidences there or not. But normally chartered accountants, law abiding, and they would like to have good relationship, so they don't file even tapal the thing. Whereas advocates sent by RPAD, we want to have relationship with ADI, DDA, additional joint and all. So what we try to do, you will mistake, you will take it like that. So what they do, they don't protest that much withdrawal and all that. So once it is being recorded, that particular money, since you have recorded it, it comes in the same thing in the appraisal report. So when it goes to the assessment side also, the assessing officer, since it has come in the appraisal report, so I can do, but it's a good chance for winning in the appeal. He will say and put the assessment based on this one. And again, when it comes to the appeal also, the situation is that it will go beyond a particular point is there, it goes to the tribunal. So with the result, you find if there is an arbitrary admission, voluntarily they have recorded more, it will be going till the tribunal stage. There is no, otherwise he has to come through settlement commission as such. So taking the cream side of it, Mr. Bhanusekhar and all taken appeal and other things he has taken it. So many of us who could not take that particular cream still remain at the assessment stage. We feel sometimes this type of compulsory. So kindly.
Can I respond to that? There are several complicated issues to this. First, on a personal note, as I said, I have mounted more than 250 searches as an officer, organizing officer. I have never, despite my bosses telling me, I have never admitted, I have never sought an admission unless it is evidence based. I feel that if I done my homework correct, I've got the documents, whether you admit or not, I'll make you pay. Which is why several of my cases, I'm sure maybe Mr. Bhanusekhar has come across some of them in settlement commission also, that whatever we have taken, we ensure that if I have a case where only 20 lakhs I found out, fine, that's it. I don't write anything more. And I leave it for the assessing officer to ensure that the correct amount is brought to tax. But there is a tendency when I see this not as a profession but as a matter of pride that I've gone in and I've got a declaration. Now that, again, as I said, on a personal note, I would never insist on any of my, even today, I face serious situations when at the end of the day, my phone is full of messages which I sent to my chief commissioner saying, sir, no admission, evidence found is this. So they say, no, insist on admission and tax payment. Now, this is where the department itself has clearly stated survey and search are not tax collection mechanisms. Please understand that. This is a last weapon for unearthing of information, and it is a deterrent weapon. And I'll tell you, it's the most terrible thing, the secrets that I can share of what we've seen inside companies and inside houses would destroy lives, would change the course of nations also, which we, of course, we forget it as long as it doesn't have a relevance to the income tax department. Therefore, this drastic action is not to be a tax collecting exercise. Therefore, board itself and the government of the day and the government before this have strongly condemned admission or forcing an admission. As educated taxpayers, you should be very clear. 132(4) gives you immunity if you admit during a search. Similarly, if you make an admission during a survey, there are certain immunities you get. But let it be confined only to the evidence. Not because I want to say I have done a 10 crore case today, I have done a 1 crore case today. No. If not a penny more, not a penny less. If you find that there is evidence which says, okay, I have to admit 11 crore, 19,000, something. Fine, admit 11 crores, 19,000. If you have only 19,000 to admit 19,000 only, not 20,000. So you have to, this is where, see, the chartered accountants today have more tax enforcement role to play than the department. We value your signature. On your signature today, we accept things, and you are doing the preliminary scrutiny for us, you are preparing the report for us, and once you have signed on that line, when we see that in the tax audit report we've seen the signature of so-and-so, we said fine, file it, nothing more. Because you are now an extension of the enforcement and administration of the income tax department, income tax law and the department. Therefore, in these cases also, your role will be to act as a proper counselor to your assessee, to stand by and make an admission if the evidence is there. If the evidence is not there, then you will have to, as he said, like the advocates, take on the bull by the horns. And yes, it leads to certain things. But department, very clearly, 1 week back also, this has been reiterated that it is on the website of the department. It is on the incometaxindia.gov.in, wherein they have condemned the practice of accepting declarations, and especially declarations which are not backed by evidence. That they serve no purpose, neither the purpose of the assessee nor the purpose of the department. And therefore, my advice, both on a personal and official note, would be that you do benefit under 132(4) and during the course of a survey, if you make an admission and if you pay the taxes therein, during the course of a survey, the board instruction says you will not be even picked up for scrutiny. So these are the advantages of accepting a certain level of income, but it should be reasonable. See, all of us, as I have gone, there have been very few cases where wherever we search, where we've not got something. Now, sometimes we expect several things, but maybe because of a faulty planning, we don't get what we expected. But so be it. We accept that the assessee has a better brain than us. 99% of the assessees have better brain than us. That's why we are serving in the government and they're making more money than any officer would do. And once in a while, when they get caught, let them come clean and pay their taxes. As I said, this is a complicated question. Do not admit unless you have evidence, and if you do admit, it has its own set of benefits. And the board's intention is clear. The minister's intention is clear. They have clearly stated no forced admission. I'll just wind up with one last thing. So I want to borrow a word from Chairman CPE, who gives us wonderful lectures. And he normally illustrates about creative accounting. I'm yet to come across an entry like that. He says that an actor had talked about overhead expenses. So what was his overhead expenses? His wig replacement cost. And there are several other things he says, but with that note, I will take leave and thank you for the opportunity and thank you for a patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Selva Ganesh. In fact, coming and sharing the pearls of wisdom emanating out of your practical experience. Thank you very much, sir. As a token of love and affection, I request my dearest friend and past president of ICAI, G. Ramaswamy, to hand over a memento to our commissioner. Is there and all that, but sometimes it doesn't happen, but at least it gives you the confidence that how to react as such. The assessees also how to, but then it is also a true fact. The real worth of the asset of our client, we come to know only after the raid is happening. Till the time we don't know what is valuable as such. Recently, a spa owner was raided by the department. So what exactly is really owning, we come to know only after the raid happened. Otherwise, always, ask for a corporate debt restructuring proposals only we deal with actually on the one side. So interest in the stock in trade, capital gains versus income from business. There is a specific circular also, under what circumstances and all it has come. And when Mrs. Radha Shivatsa was there as a chief commissioner, this particular thing she came and addressed in our institute. Under what circumstances? She also sent a circular also, the assessing officer. Like we have consistency, the department also should not change the thing, how you are doing it, but what way you are keeping your books, all those things matter a lot. So we have with bonus taker, but still certain issues the assessees crossing swords with the department, and it goes and settled in the tribunal, many of the cases. So he is the right person to give justice. So I welcome Mr. Bhanuseka. I request Mr. Arululi to present a shawl, and I request our G. Ramaswamy, past president, to garland Mr. Bhanuseka. Dear friends, this particular topic, as I said, is of a practical significance, not only for our clients, for ourselves too. When you will be able to tell, now they say demat account, there should be only one account. Earlier at least, now what is day trading? What is repetitive transaction if you are making regular, if you do it? For one IAS officer, they have received a notice. The reason is department took the income from capital gains as income from business. So when he had a CBI raid, they said that an IAS officer should not do anything business, but your assessment shows your income from business is there. So it has got a wider ramification, not only from the revenue side. If you are assessed as income from business, a public servant cannot do business. Now by his magic wand, what he has put as capital gains, he has converted as income from business in the assessment order. So that the issue was there, it has got a wider ramification. So it is not as simple as that, as the revenue or income tax. So I request Mr. Bhanuseka, before that I request Revati, who is our CPE committee member, to introduce Mr. Bhanuseka.
I think we all know Mr. Bhanuseka, but just a formal introduction. He's been in practice as a partner in Mrs. Sri Ramaswamy and B. Srinivasan Chartered Accountants since 1994. He's contributed articles on direct taxes and international taxation to several tax journals, including the Consolidated Commercial Digest, published by the Publishers of Income Tax Reports, Taxman, Tax Referencer, and the Income Tax Review, published by the Chamber of Income Tax Consultants, Mumbai. He was formerly a member of the editorial board of the publication Consolidated Commercial Digest and a columnist in the Hindu Business Line in the personal finance page, featured on Sundays, authoring the column Tax Talk. He was also formerly a member of the editorial board of the news bulletin published by the Chartered Accountants Study Circle, Chennai, and he's an author of the following books: Handbook on Assessment Procedure under Income Tax Act 1961 and Search Assessment under Income Tax Act. He was also formerly a visiting faculty at the ICAI on direct taxes and at the Institute of Company Secretaries of India and Loyola Institute of Business Administration on direct taxes. He has delivered a number of lectures and presented papers on direct taxes and international taxation at seminars, meetings, workshops, and conferences of the ICAI, SIRC, and as well as the other regions of ICAI, and also along with those organized by other professional and public bodies, including several branches of various regions of the ICAI. He has actively participated as a trustee in brain trust sessions organized by the branches of the ICAI, and he has participated in the training programs for commissioners of income tax conducted by the regional training institutes of the Income Tax Department and also the Central Training Institute, that is the National Academy for Direct Taxes. He is a former member of the Taxation Committee of the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, and I think he is currently the chairman of the Direct Tax Committee of the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. He was a former treasurer of the Southern Region chapter of the International Fiscal Association India branch, and a former member of the SIRC of ICAI, and a past chairman of the Fiscal Laws Committee of the SIRC. And that is Mr. Bhanuseka.
Before I request Mr. Bhanuseka to give his presentation, one more thing I want to add He was a regional council, elected regional council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India here. And during that period, I was able to become chairman thanks to his vote. So that way I have a personal gratitude. So no